Okay, good morning. Today we are going to talk about stomach acid. We're going to talk about what stomach acid is, what its role is in digestion, why it matters, and how it might be causing problems for you, and also what might be causing it to be compromised. And essentially then, of course, what can you do about it? What can you do about it? So let's start with the simple things. Stomach acid is obviously an acid, hydrochloric acid. Sometimes you'll see it as HCl, that gets secreted into the stomach when you eat food. Very simple. It is designed to help to start breaking down things like proteins in the stomach. So right off the bat, you can already see if your stomach acid is compromised, meaning it's too low, your digestion is off right from the start. Okay, now arguably your digestion starts in the mouth while you're chewing, but the next part past chewing in your stomach already being compromised. Okay, now what else does it do past the stomach? Yes, stomach acid plays a role beyond just digestion in the stomach. So it also sends a signal when it gets released into the stomach. It sends a signal down to other digestive organs further down in your digestive tract, like the pancreas, like the gallbladder. And these organs are really important in your digestion as well. So if your stomach acid is low and you are not releasing the signal to the rest of your digestive system, now it's further compromised. Now we're not releasing digestive enzymes from the pancreas. Now we're not releasing things like bile from the gallbladder. That's the component that helps us digest fat. So if you're thinking, oh man, no matter what, I can't eat fat. I really have a hard time with that. It might be related to your gallbladder. It could be related to your stomach acid. It could also be related to the liver. Sidebar. Okay. So what could possibly cause low stomach acid? How do you know if you have low stomach acid? One of the first signs is that you have heartburn. I know. It doesn't seem intuitive. It seems like if I have heartburn or acid reflux, then I have too much stomach acid. And oftentimes what we'll do is we'll go to the doctor, we'll be complaining of heartburn or stomach acid or acid reflux. And what do? They give you a omeprazole or a PPI, or they tell you to take tums to block that stomach acid. It makes sense when you think about it that way. However, the symptoms, this is very important, the symptoms of low stomach acid and the symptoms of high stomach acid are the same. So if you are thinking, oh man, I've struggled with heartburn my whole life. If you can't leave your house without taking Tums with you, if you've been on an acid suppressing prescription medication for a long time, this conversation is very important for you, okay? One test that you can try, and I use the word loosely because it's clearly not like a super scientific test, but you can try this. It's called the baking soda test. So you're just gonna take a teaspoon of baking soda and put it in a little bit of water, 4 or 6 ounces, nothing too crazy, just enough to mix it up. First thing in the morning, before you eat or drink anything, you're gonna mix that up and I want you to drink it. What should happen is that the stomach acid and the baking soda should make you produce a burp. So I want you to time that. How long does it take for you to produce a burp? Then there are some guidelines. Anything less than 3 minutes could indicate decent stomach acid levels. 3 to 5 minutes before you produce a burp could be kind of low. Anything longer than 5 minutes, or if you don't produce a burp, is a sign that you might have low stomach acid. Now again, I'm using these terms very loosely, but it is an easy test that is free and you can try it and it's not going to hurt you. If you get really weird, bad heartburn, just drink a little water. It should go away. It's no big deal. So that's one way that you can tell. You might be wondering what other causes of low stomach acid might be. Stress. It's so annoying. I know. I hear myself. It's very frustrating, and I really want to be very careful not to say, oh, you're stressed, and write you off as, oh, you just have a problem with stress, just deal with it. If it were that easy, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But it is still important information for you to have. I want you to know that if you happen to be going through a particularly stressful period of time and there is just simply not anything that you can do about it, because that's life sometimes, you might invest in a little bit of extra support in the form of a digestive enzyme, for example. That might be something that could be really helpful. It's a Band-Aid. It's not getting rid of the root problem, which is stress. But unlike something that you can take an antifungal or an antiparasitic or an antibacterial for, there's no anti-stress pill. And so sometimes what we need are tools. And so in that case, having a digestive enzyme can be really helpful. You may like taking a little bit of hydrochloric acid as a supplement as well, HCl. You can find enzymes that include it. You can find enzymes that exclude it. I think that I would be careful if you were going to try that. I would work with somebody before you just start taking hydrochloric acid. Make sure that they have a full understanding of what's going on and what would feel safe for you. Which leads me to my last point of possible causes of low stomach acid, the H. pylori infection. H. pylori is insanely common. It's super common. It's a bacterial infection that lives in the lining of the stomach, and it causes a suppression of stomach acid if it gets over a certain level. So most of us will have some level of H. pylori. For some of us, it's really troublesome, and for others, it's not at all. It's a very easy to pass bacteria. It passes through saliva. So kissing, sharing a straw, drinking out of the same cup, it happens very easily. If your levels of H. pylori are high, which you can test with a stool sample test, I can give you some information on something like that in the comments below here. But if you do have H. pylori, you can treat it. If you go the conventional route, it's going to be a triple antibiotic. If you do the herbal route, you're probably looking at something like mastic gum. But again, you're going to want to work with somebody for that. But that could be a really, really big part of the puzzle as to why your digestion might be off. So to summarize, if you feel like you are bloated all of the time, if you have bad gas, if you just feel like your food isn't moving through your system, and you just generally have this sense that something is wrong with your digestion, maybe you're really constipated, maybe you have diarrhea, taking a look at the stomach acid component can be a helpful piece of the puzzle for you, okay? So you can start by looking at, are you stressed? You can consider getting a stool sample test to test for H. pylori and other bacterial, the other bacterial picture in your gut overall, the microbiome overall. You can try doing the baking soda test to see, is this high stomach acid? Is this low stomach acid? And again, it's not a perfect test, but it will give you a little bit of an idea. And then you can help support yourself with things like digestive enzymes. Perhaps you wanted to use HCl, but again, I would work with somebody with that. I'd love to actually, let's take a walk. I will show you the digestive enzyme that I always recommend for that, the one that I use, the one that I recommend for my clients, because it does not have any HCl in it. So if you were sensitive, or if you just weren't sure, you don't want to be taking HCl if you have an H. pylori infection. So I use Power Enzyme by Strata Nutrition. And again, I will link this for you. It just kind of looks like this. And what you'll do is you'll take an enzyme with every meal. So this is not about getting a certain amount of something each day. It's about taking it with meals to support digestion. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'll link that in the comments for you. I hope that was really helpful for you. Let me know what your questions or concerns on stomach acid are, and if any of these little tricks helped you. See you next week, guys.